You're back joining us, Curtis Ellis, Senior Policy Advisor, America First Policies. He cannot escape from New York. He's in lockdown. Curtis, great to have you with us.
Very good. It's very good to be here. I am in lockdown. I've got Mayor de Blasio has got me in handcuffs to the radiator. I'm chained to the radiator here. I'm not allowed to leave. He's sitting right across the room from me. And that's even worse than being handcuffed to the radio. I wish this guy would just leave, but we're laughing and scratching here in New York.
Let's give us some Curtis Ellis perspective and some facts here other than fiction. Steve Bannon got a couple of texts from today. He says, "Good God, man." He said John Fredericks is now the general of Fort Defiance. He says, "I'm the general at Fort Defiance." I'm not sure what that means, but he says, "Good God, man, you're looking at the data coming out of New York." He said 40% of those affected are under 50. He also sent me a text that said there's a makeshift morgue for coronavirus victims set up outside a New York City hospital. How bad is this?
Well, I haven't been to that hospital. I'd like to know which one it is, because I live not far. I'm within walking distance of the hospitals, but I'm in Manhattan, so there's a lot of hospitals here.
I was
thinking of taking a walk up First Avenue today, actually. We've been told over 70 years old, don't take the subway or public transportation unless you absolutely have to. I'm not over 70, but I've been walking around a lot.
He says it's outside of the famous hospital, the Bellevue Hospital in Manhattan.
I'll take a walk up there.
It has a makeshift morgue, but I mean,
about 20 blocks from me, not far at all.
So
easy walk.
What they're saying is 40% now of the cases in New York are people under 40, but when you look at the fatality rate of under 40, it's like 0.00001%. It's like 2 people. Help me with the numbers here.
Well, look, I'm not an epidemiologist. I don't play one on TV, and I didn't sleep in a Holiday Inn last night because they're all closed. So I'm not going to pretend. There is an interesting piece out. The Imperial College study predicted 1 million U.S. dead. Then there's an Oxford study that says 50% of the people in the United Kingdom have already been exposed. Here's the assumption that's behind the Imperial College study. That's the one that got everybody's hair on fire, right? 1 million Americans are going to be dead. It's based on this key assumption. And the assumption is that the numbers that came out of China and that are coming out of China are reliable. It assumed that all of the confirmed cases in China, the number reported out of China of confirmed cases is accurate, right? And that's a ridiculous assumption. The numbers that come out of China are not accurate. And there is very solid mathematical and even epidemiological reason to believe that the numbers of the infected in China were 10 times bigger, at least 10 times higher than what China reported. And so if the number of infected people who got the contagion is 10 times higher, that means the denominator of this fraction is 10 times higher, and that means the death rate is 10 times less. Mm-hmm. So 1 million suddenly becomes 10,000. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm not saying that's true. And by the way, the average death rate is not important. It's the different age groups.
Right.
The best example we have, and this is from an epidemiologist and a biological, researcher type mathematician out of Stanford University named Ian Addis. The best example, the best case study we have is the Diamond Princess cruise ship.
Right.
The Diamond Princess cruise ship was that one that was stuck off Yokohama, Japan.
Right.
And there we saw infection rate of 1%. The death rate, 8 people died. They were all over 65. So anyway, for what it's worth, Dave Bratt, I hope everybody listens to that what Dave Bratt was saying. You had him on last half hour.
Yes.
Brilliant. I mean, look, we have to be. There is a absence of data on this this virus, and we can't be making we're making policy decisions based on no data, and that's very dangerous, very difficult. It's a difficult decision to make. If we shut down the economy and keep it shut for 6 months because the epidemiologists say that's what we have to do, everybody will die. Anyway, they're going to die of hunger, they're going to die of alcoholism, they're going to die of domestic violence, they're not going to be able to eat, they're not going to be able to get the drugs, they're not going to be able to do anything because they won't have any money. What do we do then, right? So that's impossible. And if we open up everything right now and everybody gets infected, we're all going to die. Because, the hospitals will be overwhelmed. And if you get an ingrown toenail, you're going to die of an infection because you won't be able to see a doctor to do anything about it. So the two extremes get you to the same place, universal death. So you're going to have to make some tough choices along the way. That's all I'm saying.
So right now the studies show that there's 2 people in America who've died as a result of the coronavirus between 20 and 44, 2 people between 45 and 54. So there's almost 800 deaths. So the rest of those are 55 to, unlimited age. And of course the majority is over 85. So, look, it's all bad.
There are no good choices here.
When you look at the Oxford study, which has gone unreported except here on our show, nobody wants to talk about this. They're saying that right now 50% of the United Kingdom has the virus or has had it, right? 50%. Right. But millions of people are not dying. They're simply sick, they recover, they go back to work. I mean,
John, there's a good chance that I had the virus.
Or me.
Remember when we were in New Hampshire, right?
Yes.
I was sick one night.
That's right.
I thought it was from gas station food.
That's right. I remember that.
Indian food. Now, one of the symptoms has come out now. One of the symptoms of this infection is diarrhea. I had diarrhea one night, and I had chills, and I thought it was from the gas station food. It's very possible I'm one of these Oxford study people who got the virus, and I had I was feeling a little, I was close to the toilet one day, and that was it. It's over. I don't know. Once we get a serological... Anyway, go ahead with your Oxford study. But
no, look, you're right. I may have had it. You might have had it, given it to me. I'm a pretty strong guy. I rarely get sick. Just me. I'm big.
Right.
I eat a lot, but I eat real well, Curtis, as you know.
You are the Godzilla of truth.
Yes. I mean, I eat a lot, but you've been with me. I eat very healthy. I just eat a lot of what's healthy. That's my problem. But I'm a big, strong, strapping guy. I never get sick, and I'm in perfect health, except I'm a little bit overweight, although I did lose 20 pounds. I didn't want to say that. I did lose 20 pounds. So that's good. Yeah, so I do feel better. But look, you may have had it. I might have had it. Elaine might have had it. Who else we were on? We were in close quarters on that bus going through New Hampshire. There were 5 of us in there. Nick, the driver, crammed into the bus.
That's right. We were
if you got it, we all got it.
We were never 6 feet apart from each other, ever.
Like 6 inches?
Yeah.
It's about the space we had.
Yeah.
The Oxford study says that it's possible that half of residents in the United Kingdom have had the virus or had the virus. And they got sick and recovered. Some people don't even know they have it. Some people get sick. But to destroy the economy with the metrics right now that are saying 99% of people recover, and the overwhelming majority of those who do not recover are seniors with compromised health, to destroy your way of life in America forever is insane.
You know what Dave
it's
Bratt was
insanity.
saying? We've got to focus on this. Who is to blame for all this? It is globalization. It is China. And that I mean, look, we have to focus on the public health and keeping Americans safe and, all that. Yes, for sure. But never forget the main lesson here. How did we get in this pickle? When you hear people that there aren't enough respirators, yes, there aren't enough respirators. Right now, the demand for world respirators is 100 times what is possible to make. I mean, you can't just snap your fingers, do copy and paste, and make more respirators. You don't. There's a 20-fold surge in demand for these physical items. How do you ramp up 20 times what is possible to produce? That doesn't just happen overnight. And so much of it is being made in China. And China has no interest in actually increasing, well, they may have some interest in increasing the production of ventilators, but if you look at the Communist Party of China, they want to create chaos in the West. They want to. They have said so. They want to exploit the chaos and the hysteria over the public health in the West to advance their own industries. And so they are holding back exports of medical supplies. So when everybody says it's Trump's fault that there's no respirators, that's not true. That's another aspect of this.
Curtis Ellis, Senior Policy Advisor in New York with America First Policies, the #1 political action committee for Trump-Pence 2020. Explain the respirator situation now in New York.
Well, so Cuomo says, Governor Cuomo says we need 30,000 respirators in New York. And Anthony Fauci last night was on TV, and he said, yeah, 30,000, that's the number. We don't know if that's the complete number that he needs or if that includes the numbers that New York already has, and they need some more. And the ventilators, not respirators, pardon me, ventilators. There's the machines, the breathing machines. When you can't breathe, it pumps air into your lungs, and then, it's a electromechanical machine. It has electronics in it, and motor in it, and pumps and everything. Now, the circuit boards that go into the Philips machines are made in China. Philips is one of the makers of these. There's 4 companies in America, 4 companies that have factories in America. Philips is one of them. And the circuit boards come from China, and China wasn't shipping the circuit boards. Their production line was shut down for several days, a couple of weeks ago, because they weren't getting the parts they needed from China. Thank you. They had no backup. Philips had no backup supplier in the United States, right? Mm-hmm. So I have heard from people in the manufacturers that they are not getting orders from anybody. Any of the makers, these 4 companies, or from the big 3 automakers that we keep hearing are going to be making ventilators, well, the big 3 automakers have not reached out to their suppliers and saying, can you retool and start making ventilator parts instead of making brake shoes? Nobody's done that. So I don't know where this is coming from, that the big 3 automakers are going to start making ventilators. What I believe is happening is that the existing makers of ventilators, they don't want to endanger their proprietary processes and technology and their existing suppliers by opening up their books. And here's another piece of information that I've learned, is that Medtronic has put out a bid they're asking suppliers to bid on 11,000 different parts that go into making ventilators. However, they are not sharing the specifications for those parts. Mm-hmm. Now, if you don't have specifications for the parts, I can't tell you how much it's going to cost me to make those. If I don't know, are you asking for a 1/2-inch screw or a 1/4-inch screw? Are you asking for a left-hand threaded screw or a right-hand threaded screw? Mm-hmm. Are you asking for, a 12x5 piece of plastic or a 1x3 piece of plastic? And you're asking me to tell you how much I can sell that to you for? Sorry, give me a drawing, give me a blueprint, give me the specs, and then I can give you a price. They're not sharing any of that information. It looks to me, I don't know what, I'm not in, just like I'm not a mathematician, I'm not in manufacturing. But a guess would be, maybe they're just going through the motions to make it look like they're doing something, but they're not really. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what's happening from what I'm hearing from people in the manufacturing business. Den has been in manufacturing, and I'd like to hear from him as well. But that's so ventilators, 10 times, at least 10 times, the demand for ventilators is at least 10 times higher of what's available around the world. Because every country on earth is doing this. Philips, in the Dutch newspaper, has said Philips is meeting with its competitors to discuss how to ramp up production. Now, that is either good news or that's a cartel trying to control the production of these machines.
Probably the latter, just like it always
You
is.
think?
I mean, it's definitely the latter, and it's like the president said the other day, and others have said that, Peter Navarro was on Fox News saying the other day that, look, we're not going to tolerate price fixing, price gouging. If we see it, we're going to take full advantage of whatever that
Defense Production Act.
He said we are going to get troops to march in there. I mean, you're simply not going to be able to do that when people are dying. So forget it. That's what the companies are going to try to do. I mean, there's one school of thought that says the reason why a lot of people don't want the malaria-based antidote to the coronavirus to maybe catch on or be accepted is because there's no patent, it's relatively available, and very cheap for people to get their hands on. It's easily made.
Right,
And
no one company is going to make a fortune on making that
Nobody
drug.
can make any money. So what these want is they want the one company or two companies to come out with the antidote, the virus vaccine, and they can charge a lot of money and they can make bajillions of dollars.
And
malaria
the FDA
drug
is in
doesn't
the
do
business
that.
of running trials for those things.
Exactly.
So the bureaucrats want the same thing. Because they're like, oh, that now we get to check boxes.
Well, you got to hand it to France, who basically says, hey, you know what? It's working for us. We're going to continue to hand it out and see what happens. And they keep getting success with it. Curtis Ellis, I'm out of time. I want to thank you for joining us today. There's a lot of fake news out there. Thanks for trucking the truth.